did a 3-hour Starfield fucking.
Yeah, dude, if I didn't have shit that I was doing, I would have played fucking longer than that. I'm fucking obsessed with the game. It's awesome. And I haven't even scratched the tip of the iceberg. Ethan's been playing it, and what I'm struggling with is I haven't downloaded the D4S or whatever it is, or DS4, so I could use a controller. So I've been playing with a mouse and keyboard, and it's just a
Yeah.
bitch. And the fucking universe is so huge. Like, say if you're on a planet, you can open your star map up, right? And you could back out a
You
little
feeding him?
bit, and then you could see like if there's any moons around the planet, right? And then it shows you all the spots you can fast travel on the planet, right? Well, if you back out again, it'll show you. It's not the galaxy. It'll show you the area of the galaxy that you're in. There might be 4 or 5 major planets. It's probably a galaxy. There's like 4 or 5 major planets with like some sort of sun or whatever, and it's like, oh, cool, I could go to like 6 different planets, and they have places to land, and they got moons and asteroid belts and space stations outside them, right? But then you could back up again, and then there's dozens and dozens of galaxies all over the map. It's just plot points, and you can't get to a place unless you've gone to a place adjacent to it. So like if I'm on the main place, like if I'm in Jemison's, the main place where people live, it's like the second Earth. If I want to get to a planet that's like way over the fuck over here, I can't just fast travel there. I gotta like incrementally explore and find pathways to it. So like, so if there's like a galaxy or two in between me and the place I want to go, I gotta try to warp speed to the places and create a path like all the way to that spot. You can't just go boop and go there. But once you get there, it plots it, and then you can start using the grav drive, and you can go hyperspeed and like shoot places, or you could just using the hyperdrive's cool, but you could just fast travel if you want. The hyperdrive's cool though, because when you're in the cockpit, you gotta like reroute power and take the power down from other parts of your ship. Dude, the game's so in depth. You have to drop like your shield power, your weapon power, all these other powers, and then put it all into the grav drive so that you can go into hyperspeed. It's fucking, dude, the game's fucking wild. So it was already cool, but then I don't know if you see the stream, but you got to find the part where I showed up on a space station. And typically when you show up to planets or space stations or space outposts or whatever, a lot of times you'll pull up to them, and if there's a full crew there, they'll be like, oh, hey, and say what's up to you and be like, yo, this is what's going on here. This is like this is how we get down. They might be like, hey, if you want to come aboard, we got to scan your cargo, all this bullshit. Like, it's awesome. But I showed up to a space station where no one ain't said shit. So I was like, and then I drove close and I docked to it. It's in the stream. I go in there and it's a fucking flying like space casino, but a bunch of spacers, like some raiders, like bad guys, space pirates, took it over and like killed the staff, and they like were just robbing it, dude. And there was no gravity in there. So like if you shoot non-laser weapons, bro, like if you shoot something with actual calibered ammunition, you'll fly backwards and shit. So I'm in there flying around, fucking fighting dudes. I was like, yo. So I cleared it out and then I just left. But dude, the game's insane. Like, I'm only on a 3-day. My plan is I got to do a couple things tomorrow, and I got to do something Wednesday. I'm trying to stay away from Chow because she's still sick. But she's like, I know you could test positive for days after you're sick, but like, she's like, I can't take it anymore. She's like walking around and going shit, working out, and like, I'm like, well, you know, we got to keep some semblance of a distance because I got too much poor shit going on. So, but yeah, so I plan on after this trying to take a nap and getting up when I normally get up because I start days soon. And I'm going to probably start a stream early tomorrow morning and play like into the day. Run some chores. Shit like that. But dude, the game's fucking dope.
I knew that shit was dope. I seen someone do a little bit of playthrough that got a early copy, and shit looks amazing.
Well,
I mean,
what's that?
makes me wanna like set up a computer and get that shit going.
The only thing that's annoying is like I'm having issues running on my laptop after I spent all that money on it, and like even with it, I turned the settings down to medium, and for some reason, after like an hour or so of playing it, it just starts to run like shit, and that bums me out. Now, obviously, I don't necessarily need to play Starfield at work, and at work, I'm constantly having to move to different spots and do other things and stuff. So I'm constantly shutting the computer off and turning it back on. So I don't necessarily need to play it at work, but it just I'm gonna have Spencer fuck with it and fuck with the display and see what's going on with the settings because maybe I set it up wrong or whatever. There's no excuse for not to play it. But she's working fucking like a gem here on the house PC, so I'm not worried about it. But
Okay.
this video is not about Starfield. This video is about us finishing our NFL preview with the NFC teams, and we're gonna break down. Everyone's gonna get a couple minutes to talk about each NFC team, and then at the end we'll just kind of do an overview of what we think about the playoffs and what teams we think are like. Talk about who we think our final four teams are gonna be, who we think's gonna win the Super Bowl, and all that happy shit. On the channel, I don't know if I want to go live as much as I usually do because what happens is it throws the live into the live category on the game, and that's not the first thing you see when you go to the channel. You'll see
Okay.
videos. So I'm recording this one and I'm just gonna throw it up after.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, so we'll go through it. I'm just pulling up my timer now. We're how many more days away, Chad?
Oh, I'm good.
How many more days away are we from football?
More days?
Thursday, right?
So, 3 days.
3 fucking days, dude. I don't know. I'm having a brain fart right now. Where's my
7
timer?
for the Bills game.
Okay. So we will get into it, and we will start with. Okay, we'll start with the bottom and work our way up. We're going to start with the NFC South. The first team on the docket is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chad, you're on the clock with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got 2 minutes.
Um, Not too positive about these. They have a good squad in general, but without Tom Brady, they're not gonna make a real push for it. I don't think for holding that division. It's interesting because there's a lot of new quarterbacks over there. At least half the division has brand new quarterbacks. I think the other ones have young quarterbacks. So it's very hit or miss. But if you like Baker, then maybe you think you do a good job. But if you don't like Baker, then like I don't really, I'm not a huge fan. So I don't think he's going to make them a better team. And Tom Brady could barely get enough wins to get to the playoffs last year with that team. So
Neuters!
I don't see him making that far.
Chad's getting destroyed over here.
Oh, buddy.
What do you
But I just
think?
don't.
What do
I
you
just don't
think?
see them going that far.
You think they got like a low
I
floor?
think I could see them getting like I see them getting max like 7, maybe 7 wins, 7, 8, 8 being the max, like low being like 4 to 5, depending on how Baker plays and what not. Because honestly, if I was them, I would probably go right with just going with a rookie or try to I don't know develop a guy instead of bringing in a guy like Baker. Because like I
Gotcha.
said, Baker's not horrible. He has his faults, you know.
Tom, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got 2 minutes.
Me. So
Yeah.
what I believe is that the division is low, depending on all the teams that you're talking about in there. I don't have a lot of faith in Derek Carr. So if you can get good quarterback play, this defense is good. Um, Even with the run game, I don't like this offense is good. Offensive line is healthy. It hasn't been a strong point of them, but I but I don't necessarily think it's a weak point of them. I really think the quarterback play is kind of the weak point of this team. Baker Mayfield can play at a decent level, and I'm not necessarily sure that like I would trust in Trask, even though I like Trask out of Florida. That was my thing. I actually like the pick, but he
I
hasn't
liked the
shown that.
player when he was in college. He showed
Right.
flashes of having arm talent and stuff.
Yeah, but it seems like
30
they don't
seconds.
like they don't have the level of trust that I thought that they had in him. I think this team is good defensively. I think this team is very weak offensively. But this could be a middle of the road team. That's just my with Baker Mayfield. I think it's consistent middle of the road play. That's how I think about this team.
Yeah, so for the Buccaneers, I will say, preface this: I'm going to be dropping my power rankings tomorrow or Wednesday. This division, in my opinion, I have all the teams like pretty much even. It's like any one of these teams, because the division's so bad, could maybe win 9 or 10 games if they really show out over the other teams. When I look at Tampa Bay, I personally think when all the rosters are healthy in that division, that Tampa Bay, you can make the argument, it's the most talented team. They have one of the best left tackles in the game. They have two of the best wide receivers in the game. They have one of the best young running backs in the game. And their defense is stacked at all levels. They got players at all levels. But at the end of the day, it's going to come back down to how Baker Mayfield plays. So, like, it's weird with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield showed at times where he's had a couple years where he's pretty decent, but he's just so inconsistent. And he was always like the accurate guy in college, just like had insane accuracy, even at like the deep analytics. And he just hasn't been that accurate in terms of, making decisions and his overall accuracy, putting the ball on guys. He's such a weird player. He has arm talent, in my opinion, for days. But it's everything else that he struggles with. And I don't know if it's the Browns, this organization and dysfunction or whatnot. I expect him with those wide receivers and that left tackle to actually, I think he's going to be more competitive than people think, because you could be way worse. At least Baker Mayfield's got experience and he's thrown a decent amount of touchdowns in the past. Like his rookie year, his second year was really good. You got basically unknowns with two of the other quarterbacks. And then you got Derek Carr is definitely the best quarterback in that division, and we'll get to that later. But, he's not as consistent in stuff, even as he's as talented as he is. So I think Tampa Bay's floor is probably like 6 or 7 losses, and then their ceiling could be winning the division at 10-7, because I think any of these teams could probably win the division. So that's how I feel about Tampa Bay. The team we have next is the New Orleans Saints. Chad, take it away.
So Saints, I do like the addition, at least for quarterback wise. I like Carr for that team. I don't know. People always shit on Carr for like him not being a good quarterback, but he's not horrible.
He's pretty good.
Eek.
When you think
had
about
that-
it, he's
what-
pretty good. You could have
Yeah,
be way
he's
worse
above-
situations than having Derek Carr.
I think he's an above average. Quarterback, average to above. I don't think there are some like quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield, which I think are more average,
Yeah.
that he would be above. So he's in a small tier above them. But honestly, I don't know. Like I forgot. I didn't see much else like changes going on with that team this year. I think maybe the secondary. I thought they lost a couple people in the secondary, but I think that's been their fault anyways. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about the Saints. I could say that, but like with a quarterback change, I think Kamara's out now, right? They dropped him, anyways, right?
No, he's
So,
just on a suspension for
I
3
think they're going
years.
to take. Is he okay? Okay, I thought they dropped him, but I don't know. I see the Saints being there. I think with Derek Carr playing well, I think they could be towards the like second or third team. I don't think they're going to finish last. I think they can fight, but I don't see them finishing first either. They're not gonna. They're not a good enough. I don't think they have a good overall team for that personally. But I think Carr will definitely give them a benefit from last year, where it's like QB play was like very questionable at times, and you're going through like a gadget quarterback where like, oh, this guy can run it very good, but it's like he didn't do anything else. And it's interesting looking at their cap base with how much they're paying their quarterbacks, or they were last year, anyways. It's, I
Gotcha.
don't know how they're doing it,
Tom, what do
but
you think?
I have
Saints?
them
Oh,
going. Yeah, so I have them going 8. Like I said, like you've been saying, I think they can get 9 wins at a high, and low end towards like 6. Not like a they're not as I don't think I think they're gonna finishing above Tampa personally, but
yeah. Tom, what do you think about the Saints?
I think this is fool's gold. I think they're
Fool's
actually going to win the
gold.
division. No, I think they're going to win the division. But I think the fool's gold is in this year. I think next year they are going to suffer terrible losses. I do like the personnel here compared to the rest of the teams in the division. They do have probably the best quarterback in the division. Where I think the fool's gold is, they're going to do well this year. They're going to suffer terrible losses the following year. They're going to be caught up in this Derek Carr thing, and they have a good defensive coordinator that is not a offensive coordinator, which, like I said, they've lost some key pieces on the defensive side. Now, they've gained good defensive pieces. You might as well call them the Cincinnati Saints. Like, if we're going to be honest, they picked up a lot of Cincinnati's guys, but this idea that Michael Thomas and Chris Olave and I got to be honest, Derek Carr with the best wide receiver in the league was just okay.
Yeah.
I believe they will take this division this year, but this will be a disaster years going forward. This division is down terribly
Well, luckily for
when
you,
you
we're
talk
only
about
talking about this year. So,
this year, and I really think the quarterback position in this division is terrible.
well, it's just unproven.
Right. So we're talking Ritter, we're talking
Bryce
Baker
Young.
Mayfield, Bryce Young. Like, I'm not taking a rookie over this dude. I'm not taking Mayfield over Carr. Uh, uh, um, I'm not taking Ritter second year dude. I'm just not doing it. They'll take the division, but that's the only upside of them in this division. I can't do anything beyond that. I gotta be honest. They're not that good.
Gotcha.
Uh, Defensively, they're good. They've been able to move on from people. Good secondary. I question some of their upfront guys. Basically, they allowed those guys to move on. Again, their coach is now not. Uh, they have a defensive coach. I wasn't very high on them last year. I shouldn't be high on them this year. But if I'm really looking at the division, they should take this division. They could take this division with 9 wins. Just to be honest, I really feel that 10, 9 wins, they could take this.
Gotcha.
But Carr has never shown me that he's been able to like grab a team and take it.
Gotcha.
I've
Yeah.
always I've al- I've always liked Carr. I've always liked his arm. I've always liked his ability as a quarterback. But I'm always reserved because I've seen what he can do, and with with some coordinators, he's just not a high level dude when it comes to quarterback. Arm talent, ability, yes, high level. Fitting in the system, I just never thought like I've always watched and he just does his own thing. He doesn't fit into a
So
system.
so you like them to win the division?
I like them to win the division, but not by much.
Gotcha.
I believe that this division is going to be you can get 9 wins and win this division
Right.
easily.
Yeah. So I think the Saints should like probably be the betting favorites to win. If you look at what they have on their team, you can make an argument them and Tampa have the two best rosters, right? If you
Mhm.
look at
Yep.
just pure talent, I actually like their secondary. They have one of the best corners in the league. They have one of the best safeties in the league, in Tyrann Mathieu. Their front seven's really good, although they're getting long in the tooth up front, like Cam Jordan and some of those defensive ends and defensive tackles are getting older. I like their linebacking core. Their interior to right side of their offensive line is solid. Ryan Ramczyk holding down a right tackle. Left tackle is going to be a question mark. Alvin Kamara will be back. He'll probably be Alvin Kamara. I don't expect there to be a resurgence of Michael Thomas. Like he's like in
Hmm.
his 30s and
Hmm.
he's had some bad injuries and shit. Chris Olave is going to be really good. He was really good last year. He's going to be really good again. But yeah, I agree with you. It's like, yeah, in this division, any one of these teams could win. And it's like every single one of them has a different reason for why, even if they were the division winner. It's just, it's not pushing the envelope. Like, Derek Carr's not a clutch performer. Baker Mayfield's
Hmm.
inconsistent. And then you got two rookie quarterbacks that are unknown, on one of which is on a team that's really not that good. So I'm going to get to another team in this division. But yeah, I could see that why people would pick the Saints and stuff. And they probably should be the odds-on favorite to win if Carr can play to the best of his ability. We'll
They,
move.
they right.
You gonna say
They should
something?
be the odds on. They should be the odds on favorite. But if this division was jumbled up, I wouldn't have never be surprised about this division because
Yeah.
it's just to me, Derek Carr doesn't move the needle for me.
Yeah.
I we've seen enough of his ability, and remember, like I'm a Minnesota fan, so I always thought that Derek Carr was a piece that it should that Mike Zimmer should Mike Zimmer should have went after uh, with Spielman. I thought that the arm talent was there, and then watching him in with the Raiders, I just never like there just wasn't this go get him type of guy, and always the excuse was I believe in my faith, I believe in God, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
I need a.
what the hell does that? What the fuck does that have to do with football?
I need my
And
quarterback to drop a couple beta male cucks on people, get a little fired up, dude.
right, and, yo, drop fucking darts in the back of the
Dude,
end
like
zone,
Tom
which is
Brady.
Aaron Rodgers.
Dude,
Jesus
that's the shit
Christ.
that Tom Brady used to say to dudes, fucking swearing and shit. It's so fucking funny. But yeah,
Tom Brady, Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, even Aaron Rodgers got
yeah,
some shit going on in the preseason,
yeah,
and he was like, I don't even know this fucking dude. Like, come on, like
yeah. There's definitely a
Derek
level.
Carr is like
There's
being too friendly.
Yeah, when you're a leader in a sport that's violent, you gotta be able to galvanize people. Like it reminds me of like I loved Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton was like kind of like, hey guys, come on guys, yeah, good job, do it and shit. You gotta have a level of nastiness and swag about you. At least like some fucking swag. Like I wouldn't say that Burrow's like always the most super aggressive leader, although he has his moments where he's like yelling and talking shit. But like he has his swag about him where like he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, fuck it, we'll go again on the next play and fuck these dudes up. And like he's really good at leading all those guys. But yeah, Derek Carr's got this like almost
Jesus
like
Christ
beta energy
bullshit.
type
And
shit going on. Like he's always crying and
uh,
shit. Like
yeah,
I'm like,
I
fucking get
can't,
over yourself. All right,
I can't, I can't ride with that dude.
all
But
right,
let's move on. I can't
Chad,
ride with him.
you're up. Panthers, 2 minutes. I don't even think he's there. All right.
So I got
Oh, he's there.
Panthers as my division.
Oh, cool. Me too.
So I just think they're going to be the rookie's looking decent. I think they. I know the running back, like he was used to being in the system, but I think that was a good pickup from the Eagles. Why? And I don't know. I just see the squad doing a little bit better, and I just think with how the division is, they can actually make a run and go for it.
Anything in particular you like
So
about the team, or
I, I guess I like Miles Sanders going there. Kind of, he's not going to do the full McCaffrey role, but he's going to do a good piece of it. Um, the wide receivers are getting the young wide receivers have another year on their belt, and they're doing pretty good over there as well. I don't know. I just see it. I just see it going well for them for some reason, and the defense is pretty not awful this year, so I think
what?
it's going to be a little bit better than last year too. For
What do you think, Tom?
I see them going.
Oh, go, Chad.
I see them winning, getting 10 wins.
10 wins. All right. What do you think, Tom?
Woo! That's a little
Squeaking that
high for
division out.
me.
That's a little rich for Tiny Boy.
Yeah. That's a little rich for me.
He's like a little bit too much cream and sugar in this coffee.
I've seen some of the preseason here. Young is good. He's not bad.
Well, I mean, he's a rookie. Like, we don't know how good he's going to be.
Right. But
some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time sucked in the beginning.
Right. So the availability of thinking that this person should be middle of the road or high level to bring this team up to like second or first place in the division, you're asking me way too much. And I've seen kind of his work in the preseason.
I don't know. They won 7 games last year. They only need. They only need 2 games, dude. This division was. Hold on. This division was. I'm gonna pause your timer. This division was so nuts last year. You were saying it. You could fucking go like 8-9, 9-8, and win this division. Last year, Buccaneers 8-9 won it, and then every other team was 7-10. I gotta say, I'm actually gonna have the most fun watching this division this year. I can't wait to see which one of these teams pulls it out their ass and wins this division. But I digress. Keep going.
I hate this division.
Let's go.
Bring mediocrity.
Fucking shitty Atlanta. Let's do it.
We're battling, and it's like you got poor quarterback play. I cannot do this.
Fucking Atlanta, baby.
No, I can't do this. This division is offering the worst in this whole league. The worst quarterback play. I have to be honest with you. It's awful. Even with Derek Carr leading this is terrible. It's not that I don't have faith in Young. It's just this division is bad, and they have a really good young defense, but I don't trust them past 7 fucking games. I really don't. I'm sorry.
You don't think they win? You don't think they can get over 7 games? They won 7 last year, and they added a bunch of pieces.
Nope. Not with a rookie quarterback. No. The problem is, I've seen this rookie quarterback in the preseason. He could do some things.
I thought he looked good.
But you're asking that with front line defensive players, and asking him to do this on a subpar team.
In a bad division. You think the team's that subpar, huh? I don't agree with that.
I agree. Like, okay, you don't agree with that. I do. I just don't think this division is that good. I just think that they'll struggle against the teams in their division.
Gotcha.
He's going to have to work through stuff. And that's just the teams in his division. That's not outside of this division.
Hey, real quick, I got to run to the bathroom. You guys can keep talking about this team, and if you want, you could skip in after. Once you're done talking about them, you guys can start talking about the Falcons, okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back.
So I don't I don't like the prospect of a rookie quarterback. I don't like the prospect of this young defense. Um, this is Frank Wright. Uh, I hate to say it, but the Colts fucking regime that he ran under or that he was controlling didn't do so well. And they bring in a veteran quarterback uh, in Matt Ryan. And guess what? They already benched him. What, week 4, week 3, week 4? They couldn't even
Yes.
trust him with a terrible
Yeah.
offensive line. I'm sorry. I like not much faith. I like Young. I like actually Frank Wright being the
I
quarterback
think
for this
Miles
team.
Sanders is going to be the
Yes,
difference, though, for them.
but
I just
overall,
think Miles Sanders is going to make that big difference for them, having
overall,
an actual running back.
overall, I
Now they didn't have one last year, but they're going to have a better starting one.
overall I think this team is third, fourth place in each division. Only because when you roll out a rookie quarterback, it's very slim that this quarterback either takes second or first place in each division. It's never rolled out to be that way. I like the Falcons better. They're set up better. Uh, um, the Saints are set up better. Tampa Bay, I think, has a huge deficiency at quarterback, even with Baker Mayfield. I just don't like them to be second place. This team is third or fourth place in the division. I just have to be honest. I do like the young talent here. I do like the reset at quarterback. I do like an offensive kind of quarterback guru in Frank Wright. I just don't think rookies, and it's never shown that, to be second or first place in the division. It's just the average is just not good. I'm going to be a person that's just going to go with the numbers. It's not going to work out. If it does, I'm wrong. Okay, one of the very few times I'm wrong. I just don't believe in it. They're third or fourth place, and I got to be honest. I think this team is fourth place. They're not bad. Young talent you can build on second and third year. I just don't think they're
Yeah,
good this year.
I can get that.
Um, let's hear your thoughts on the
I'm
Falcons.
going with them because
So Chad, so we have the Falcons and we have the Falcons that are last on this board. So the Falcons have done some amazing things as far as draft wise, as far as high level talent for what they want to build moving forward. Uh, I just want to hear your thoughts on quarterback play, offensively, how they're going to move forward, which seems to be a big thing for them because that's where they drafted high. But also, I want to hear your take on defensively, where you think this team is going to be in this division. And do you think that this team is going to be first or second place in this division? This is this is this is the anomaly in this division. Is the Falcons? They last year, them last year have held first place in the beginning of part of this division. I really want to hear your thoughts offensively of this team and how they drafted, and defensively how you think they're going to move
You
forward.
asking me?
Go ahead, Ken. No, I'm asking Ken. I wanted to be the setup
sorry,
guy, but
sorry, John. I was
yeah,
my headphone freaked out for a second.
okay.
You
So
got
I'm going to
What
ask
was
you
the
this
question?
question.
you got two
I'm gonna
minutes,
I'm gonna ask
Chad.
you this question. So offensively, they move forward and went in a direction where they wanted to be proactive offensively in the way that they run offense. But what I'm really interested in is how you think this team is going to move forward defensively. I think this is a key to this team moving forward and where you think their place is going to be in this division. But go ahead.
Are you talking Falcons or no?
Falcons, yes, Falcons.
Are you talking Falcons? Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I took. It's, a funny thing is, halfway throughout last year, getting towards the end, I was rooting hard for them to win the division. Personally, because I thought it would be funny for Tom Brady not to win it in such a shitty division. But I think they were doing everything right. The rookie running back was pretty decent last year, if I'm remembering right.
Mhm.
Tyler Algier.
He was pretty decent. Yeah, and they got. I mean, they got a good. They got a good tight end and everything. So I didn't use it. Right here. What are you looking for? You want to look? He's got one. Just put it on him. I don't know. I can't. I don't think it got that much better. I see the Falcons finishing last, personally.
Mm.
I don't. They're gonna finish third or fourth, and it's gonna depend how good Baker is down there in Tampa. But I just don't. I don't see Tampa winning it this year. I don't like. I think with the better quarterback play from the Saints this year, they're gonna be in second, and I just see Carolina going first. So I don't
Whoa,
see
that's
there's
a hot.
any like I don't see there
That's
any
a
really
that's a hot take. You know that Carolina with a
yeah
rookie quarterback is a hot take.
Most people like Atlanta this year.
well I just don't think I don't know they added a couple things and I get what they did over there, but I just don't see personally myself if they couldn't win it last year when all these teams like to win it you had to have 8 wins. I don't see how they can do it this year when the other teams upgraded in some sense at their quarterback or like offensive play because that was their big. I mean, their defenses weren't great, but their offenses weren't the hottest either last year on those teams. I mean, you look at the Panthers; they traded away McCaffrey. I mean, halfway throughout the season, he was gone. Then he was their whole offense, and it's like after that point, they went 7-10 still. So it's like
You want me
I
to
don't know.
go?
I just don't see the Falcons doing the great.
I can go if you want to like
Yeah, you
follow up.
can,
Okay. My thing is with this team is um they stuck to what they wanted to do prospectively to offensively and moving forward, which is run the football. I think it's problematic because you're telling me that you want to run the football, but you don't want to move forward as an aggressive in this league passing quarterback. So Mariota was a runner. You held the division early on to only just get trampled over because Mariota couldn't do shit for you in the passing. So you are going to go with Ritter and go draft a running back, a team that is okay defensively. And I know they made improvements there. This is a good offensive line. They've done well to run block.
They were actually
And I've heard
lousy
these
defensively last year.
right. And they've done stuff to upgrade their defense. Here's my thing. You like if you want to really take this division, you have to have the quarterback. They never win after Lamar. They never win in the play to do that. They never went after a medium to average quarterback that was at play out on the open market. They've never shown me that Ritter is the guy. But they think so high of the running game that they actually think that this is the way to win a division. Sorry, I'm going to be honest. This is not an Adam Cole thing. I just can't. I can't fathom running the football is going to win you a division. It's going to put you last in the division.
Well,
And Adam, like or Evan, like you said, not a great defense. Yes, you went out and tried to build this defense. That doesn't make me feel better. If you think that you could listen, if Smith is a very good coach, offensive coordinator in the scheme that he's running while running this football, but you really think that Ritter's going to do more than what Mariota did?
that's
And
that's the crux of it right there.
and I actually like Mariota as a throwing quarterback.
I actually I like Ritter too, but it's like
Sorry,
it's not enough.
that's not Ritter's not Mariota. I hate to say this shit.
Well,
You could be hurt or whatever, but listen, I'm sorry. It this 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 doesn't work for me. You have to have a better quarterback. And when the iron is hot, you went out and got you a high level running back. Yo, go get you a high level quarterback. You got this division by the fucking balls. You want to roll with Ritter
like you
and
could,
run the fucking
they could have
football?
like
Please, please.
yeah.
I,
Well,
I can't. Whatever you're serving, I can't eat that shit. I'm sorry.
right.
I can't eat that.
So
Sorry.
So I'll do my take on Atlanta, then I'll do my take on the Panthers. I was at the can, so like I've prefaced from the very beginning, I think that any one of these teams can win this division. So I do agree with pretty much everything you said, but I do think that if everyone plays bad enough in this division, that running the football and then playing average defense could possibly win it for you. That being said, a little side note on the thing you said about the running back, drafting a running back at 8. I think now, considering the fact that teams are realizing they don't need to pay a high level running back to run a football really well, teams are starting to know when to let them go early. They're starting to change how they draft them. I think if you're a team that is really good and you think, man, the only piece we're missing is a running back, then I don't think it's a big deal to draft a running back in the first round because he's on a rookie deal and then you can trade him or let him go or whatever, or wherever you want to draft a running back. I don't give a shit. The thing with Atlanta was that team fucking needed to rebuild every single place besides like their offensive line is like the only real bright spot on the team. Now you can make the argument that they were never going to get like Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud unless they wanted to do a crazy trade, which is possible. So let's just go with the idea that Atlanta took the best quarterback available at the time they thought was best, and then they took their best player on the board, which helps their offense. Because let's be real, Arthur Smith, his scheme is about running the football. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to you're going to get into moments in games, and lately in playoffs, it's been the one great equalizer. It really comes down to like when the game's on the line, games are close. You're not running the football with 13 seconds like the Chiefs did against the Bills. Like there comes times where you have to be really effective at throwing the football, and situationally, if you can't throw the ball down the field and throw fucking darts when you're down or behind, you ain't getting back into fucking football games. You ain't fucking winning football games. Like, the whole playing defense and running the football a fuck ton works when you're playing a team that can't fucking score a lot of points on you. Or if things go the right way, maybe you get a turnover and then you're fucking ahead and then hope you can keep it ahead. But the matter of the fact is, what's separating the really good offenses from even the average offenses now is, of course you have to have all the pieces on the offense, but the coaching and the quarterback is so good and the passing is so efficient on these high level teams, they don't need a lot of possessions to score fucking points on you. So that being said, Atlanta, they added pieces on defense. They added Jesse Bates, obviously. They added, D. Lyman, Calais Campbell, fucking Bud Dupree, but he's not good. They actually
the Cincinnati Falcons.
They
That's
added
basically what
they added Caden Ellis, who was originally from the Saints. And Caden Ellis is actually a good player. He's like a Swiss Army knife player. He plays linebacker, but he can rush off the edge. He can cover. He can do a bunch of different things. They added what is his name? David Onyemata from the Saints. They stole a lot of Saints players. But 38-year-old Calais Campbell in a safety, in an overrated pass rusher, Bud Dupree, that's not really pushing the envelope. I don't think their defense is going to be any much better than it was last year. They just lack depth at so many places. They lack depth at DB. Their linebackers aren't good. They lack depth in the defensive line. Their pass rush isn't good. Like they're not good defensively, even with these additions. I think they tried to do a little quick Band-Aid, but it's not going to be enough. Offensively, I will say, I know it's preseason. I value a little bit of preseason. I don't totally disvalue it like most people do. I will say against number ones, Desmond Ridder actually looked really accurate. It looked like he can manage a football game. But that being said, the dudes that just love to run it and say, oh, I just need my quarterback to manage a fucking football game. Those are the dudes that lose to the good teams by 20 fucking points. Okay? Yeah. Because there comes a time and point where you have to actually be exceptional at offense on all levels to win a fucking football game. That's the league we're in today. And people like to act like you could love defense all you want, but the Rams just won a Super Bowl being a middle-of-the-pack defense. They were 17th in total defense, and they paid their tackles, their quarterback, their wide receivers, their pass rushers, and one corner, and they won the fucking Super Bowl. The Chiefs were middle of the pack, started 7 rookies in the Super Bowl last year, won the fucking Super Bowl. It's the coaching, the quarterback, and the offense is what's winning fucking football games in today's league and winning championships in today's league. And guess what? The teams that are knocking on the door, most of them have all that shit. Right? So Atlanta's not going to be any better than they were last year. If Desmond Ridder can at least not turn the ball over, they have a potential to possibly be one of the better teams. Like I said, I think all these teams could win the division. But I also think all these teams could be fucking bad, too. So I'll skip over to, I fucking can't stand talk about Atlanta because they're one of the worst franchises in the history of football, so fuck them. Carolina, real quick. This is why I like Carolina. Carolina's defense, in my opinion, their projected defense is going to be really good next year. They're 4 or 5 deep at corner. They're 4 deep at safety. Their linebackers, Shaq Lawson and Freddie Luvu, are underrated. They have the big hoss in the middle and Derek Brown eating up the interior. And they have good edge rushers on the outside with Burns, Yetur Gross-Matos, and some of the other guys that come off the edge on that team. And I actually think their skill position players are underrated. Miles Sanders, I think a lot of his rushing last year was definitely having the best offensive line in the league. But I still think Miles Sanders is good. I think Chuba Hubbard's good. They have one of the best young left tackles. They have one of the best right tackles. Interior line needs to be cohesive, but they got some decent interior linemen that played okay last year. And I actually like the skill positions. They got DJ Chark. Dude, against number ones, fucking the great white fucking hope at 31, however old he is, Adam Thielen has been dusting everyone against number ones in preseason. I like their backup, their depth at wide receiver. I like Mingo. I think Mingo could be a breakout player for them. And I really think Bryce Young looked good in the preseason. Barring the first game, the offensive line kind of struggled a little bit. And that's to be expected with the young offensive lines. But I think the only thing stopping this team from winning the division is the X factors. Can Bryce Young stay healthy? That's what it's really going to come down to. I really think Bryce Young has all the talent in the world. He's got to fucking stay healthy. The only thing I would say the knock on him is he definitely doesn't have the most powerful arm. His arm velocity is probably average. But everything else about his arm talent, like his accuracy, ball placement, he can read the field. Another thing you got to remember, he's slight, but he's a playmaker. Dude can get out, boot, scoot, and boogie, has great pocket awareness. So Side note before we move on, I did my my divisional parlay where I picked all the division winners for the year. I seen them at plus 500 something. I had to take them in that division. If you're gonna give me a team that could win the division for plus 500, I'm taking them. So I took Carolina. It's $105 if I hit all 8 teams. $105 to win almost $90K. So here's that. But yeah, no, all of us have made good points on these teams. This division's fucking lousy. And that's why I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be a fucking hot dumpster fire. It's going to be so bad. So
yeah, it's a bad division.
Move on to the NFC North, and we'll start with the Chicago Bears. Chad, if you're still with us, you got 2 minutes. Chicago Bears, go. Might not be there. Tom,
I'm here.
You got it.
So Bears.
So it took us almost an hour to get a division done. So we got to hold to these 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's okay. So for the Bears, see them doing pretty good this year. Fields has another year underneath his belt. I don't think, and it's weird with that division now too. You look at it and you're like, well, what's gonna happen? Rodgers is out of it. I think it's still gonna be. I think it's gonna be the Vikings defense, the Vikings to take the whole thing there. But I like Detroit Lions too, so it's very wishy-washy. But I see the Bears probably going. I don't know. Colty didn't want it on him.
You got a minute.
I see the Bears going at least. I don't know. Like,
We're struggling to hear you, bud. What are you outside?
9.
I need gas.
Yeah.
All right. Ton, you're up. Chicago Bears.
So I've always liked Field. Defensively, I think up front they're terrible. I don't think they did anything aggressive up front. D-backs, linebacking core, good. I think they overpaid for the linebacking core. Supposedly Claypool has been doing great things in camp.
Fucking Claypool.
Fields, out of college, was a good throwing quarterback. Based upon where you're looking at him against Lamar Jackson. But he was dynamic last year at the end of the year. But they also went 2-1 in the beginning of the year and then went 1-14 to finish off the year.
You got a minute.
I don't. For someone to say that they're going to take the division is highly reprehensible. I just don't.
It's reprehensible.
This is a third. This is the third, fourth place. Even at 7 wins. You're battling with the Packers at the bottom of this division. I'm sorry. You haven't shown me anything. I'll take any quarterback that'll run the football, but you can't pass the football? Sorry. Not in the NFL. You don't go nowhere. They're the bottom half of the division. Sorry. You're third or first place. That's all I gotta say.
Gotcha.
You can add defensive pieces, doesn't mean shit to me.
Gotcha.
That's what I got.
So you got them at the bottom.
Yep, at the bottom.
All right, so I will say, starting my timer. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. Chicago did add offensive linemen. They drafted Darnell Wright. They added Nate Davis as an underrated right tackle. So on my power rankings, I put their weakness as the trenches, like both sides. But I definitely think they shored up their offensive line a little bit. That was at least good at run blocking last year. Will they be good at pass blocking? I don't know. We'll see. I agree they overplayed at linebacker. They paid 2 average linebackers, and I think it's easy for a lot of people to conflate numbers with linebackers. It's not about how many tackles you can get. It's about where you're actually making stops. Are you making good reads and actually beating plays at the point of attack? Like, dissecting them before they get too, far gone before plays are busted.
We had this
We've had
conversation about Edmonds.
yeah
We had this conversation with
yeah.
Edmonds a couple of times.
Well, so Edmonds, right? I like the player a lot. He can cover, great sideline to sideline speed. He plays hard, but like against teams that just line up power I and shit. Not that a lot of teams do it as much, but on an average run play, he can get washed and pushed around. And like I said, I don't know if it's like a height thing.
That's it. That's a key. That's a key word. Washed out.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Say that. We don't say that to a lot of players, but we say that about him.
Well,
he
it's
gets
so,
washed out.
and I wonder if
it's at 6'7" and his size.
Yeah,
woo,
it's tough, and
out.
so
That's
I don't
no good.
Right, I don't know if it's because he's 6'5", 6'6", and it's the low pad, not having a low enough pad level. But you definitely see it. He definitely plays a little bit too high, and it's not that he's not capable of doing anything physically. He's one of the physical freaks in the league. But you catch him at times, not getting in good positions, not getting low enough, and he's fucking up like this, and dudes are just pushing him around. He has the ability to pass cover, but he's also a little bit inconsistent in stopping the pass. In
a Sean McDermott defense,
right?
Which is weird to me. This dude is his star athlete, not because he's a middle linebacker, but because this dude is calling the plays and doing the things that he needs to do. If this dude is getting washed out,
it's why they let him go and kept Milano, because Milano's more well-rounded and consistent.
Right.
So
for Chicago's standpoint in this division, you pay him a lot of money. I just again. It's not that he's not a good pickup. He's not a good middle linebacker. I'm just saying, how are you going to use this player? And he's going to be you're paying him as a star on that defense.
Right. He was in a system that fit him better with the Bills.
Chicago paid him that much for his potential.
And now he's going to
because he's so young.
He's going to a team where he's not going to have as much help up front, scheme-wise and stuff like that, defending that. He's going to have to be better at actually coming up and making tackles and defending the run. I'm going a little bit too long with the Bears, so what I'll say is I do like their addition of DJ Moore. I do like they've done on the offensive line, but I don't think I think they overpaid a linebacker. Their defensive line is still garbage, right? They lack depth at defensive back, even though I do like some of their defensive backs. They lack depth at corner. I do like strong safety. Their strong safety, I always forget his name. Jaquan Brisker. I do like Eddie Jackson. I love Jalen Johnson. But I think when you look at all the other teams in this league, the other teams in this league are just as talented as a whole, if not more talented in terms of pure roster. I do think Justin Fields steps up and plays well, and I think this team is going to be a competitive football team. But I actually think that a lot of people think this division's bad, but I think this division is a lot better than the NFC South, and it's going to be really competitive this year. But I do think that this team's either going to finish in third or fourth place.
Yes,
unless Justin Fields has an insane year, unless he goes off this year with DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney and all those guys, and they protect him better,
which would be
a possibility. Which is a possibility, but he has to. This is his third year.
Yes.
So yeah, I agree with you to a degree. I think I like him a little more than you, but I'm still in the same ballpark. We'll move to the Packers. Chad, are you there? All right, Tom.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Chad, can you do the Packers?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Packers. I think Jordan Love was. Jordan Love was looking decent in preseason, but you can't count preseason, as Anton always says, But Love was looking good in preseason, good enough, anyways. He did have the year or so behind Rodgers, and I think that did help his play. But I don't know. I just don't. With the wide receivers that the Jets took from them, their offense is going to be depleted enough where, Lazard already wasn't really that great of a wide receiver one. He wasn't awful, but he wasn't He's probably middle of the run for wide receiver run. And now, yeah, he's gone. Another guy's gone. I mean, I can't even tell you the wide receivers on that team now. Because I'm not sure. I didn't hear any big pickups from either since
I
they
mean, I
left.
can,
So
but they're not great.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so they're really like it's a bunch of wide receiver 2s and 3s kind of on that roster now, trying to fill other positions. So I just, unfortunately, I just hard to see the Packers. I think they're not going to finish worse than the Bears.
Got 30 seconds.
I think they're gonna be like number 3. The Packers are probably gonna go like probably 9 wins still, just because they
Gotcha.
have a decent run and things like that. But that's it for me. I don't see them going that much better.
All right, Tom, what do you think, Packers? 2 minutes.
I think so. I'm not a big Love fan, but I actually do like the wide receivers. Dobbs, Watson, they came on at the end of the year last year. I think they have I think they have a good running back crew. I think the offensive line they've always kept to be very solid. Their defense was arguably talked about as Aaron Rodgers' best defense while he's been there. This defense should be better coming up next year.
Health. They weren't that
Health
healthy
wise.
last year.
Right, health wise. But they do have one of the best cornerbacks in the fucking league. Let's be honest with that. This team really depends on Jordan Love. But this hasn't been this Packers kind of formula. Have a dude in the wings, come up, sit back for a couple of years, 3, 4 years. This is Jordan Love's 4th year being here, watching the heir apparent in front of you, like command the offense, sling the ball around,
Got 30
and
seconds.
then you got an ability to watch what that dude does in front of you. Still, I'm talking 3rd, 4th place team. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Like with Chicago, I'm sorry. Like I don't trust this team. You have the best defense ever.
Hold on. I
You
like
can't
how
put a point.
I like
That's
how
it.
he's just yelling, and all it is a Corona Extra fucking cup.
No, I'm being honest. I like this team the way they have talent. Yo, Watson, Dobbs, fantastic wide receivers. Even Lazard, fucking what's his name? Gone. Fuck that shit. They're garbage and
Yeah.
old in the tooth.
So,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Jets picked up garbage. The
so
only thing they picked up was fucking Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Watson is the dude to take. Dobbs is an
Flip
exceptional
your
wide
camera around.
receiver downfield. I'm sorry. This team has exceptional talent on the outside that is either top line wide receiver slash
The
raw
potential.
talent as a potential wide receiver down the road. I'm
So-
sorry, but the Packers actually have talent on the
Yeah.
outside, and this idea that you lost Lazard and Cobb, get the fuck out of here. That's just garbage.
So,
I'm sorry. I actually think this team is actually good building forward with the defense that they have. I still think they're a 3rd, 4th place.
so,
That's it.
so for me, the Green Bay Packers, I did like their draft. They added Luke Musgrave, who I think could come in and play well for them at tight end. It's going to help the quarterback a lot. They also added a defensive lineman, Lucas Van Ness, who's underrated. I think he played for Iowa last year. He's really good. He'll be coming off the edge. Rashawn Gary's still there. He's coming off being injured. They also have Kenny Clark still, Devondre Campbell. Their defensive backs are really good, led by Jair Alexander. Their offensive line is still really, really good. They also have 2 really good running backs. And I do agree with Chad that the wide receivers right now are number 2s and 3s. But like you said, there's a couple guys on that team that have the ability and the talent on the outside to win, and they've shown flashes of it last year. It just wasn't consistent enough.
Mm-hmm.
I actually am not a hater of Jordan Love. I actually think at the times Jordan Love has played, he showed that he's got a lot of talent. He's just got to have experience and show it.
Mm-hmm.
It does. This is going to depend a lot on how he plays. I think this is a really good football team on paper, and I think that if he can come out and establish himself as the guy, I do think this team could finish possibly in second place. But I also think that if shit goes south, they could finish in third or fourth place. I think that's a wide range of variance, second all the way down to last. But yeah, all in all, people sleep on how good the roster is as a whole.
Yo, the roster is fantastic. It's the quarterback play. That's the only thing that we got to hang up on. That's it.
Yeah.
The
So
defense is really good. The offensive line is really good. They have fantastic running backs that are a contrast to each other that they can mix and match. I really think that Watson and Dobbs and the tight end that they picked up is going to be an asset to them. We're just looking at Love as he has to be the corner
yeah,
piece
gotta step
for
up to
this
the
team to
plate.
move forward. Right. And normally with a dude that steps in, even though he's been there for 3 years and this is going to be his fourth year, I can't say that you're going to be exceptional. I'm willing to be wrong. And you
Gotcha.
could take this division. I just can't give you that much leeway.
Gotcha. So
Not over Kirk Cousins. Sorry.
right. So
Or Justin
we're
Fields.
not there yet. But Detroit. So this is a team in Detroit that fucking the pundits love, the brass, everyone fucking loves Detroit. I like Detroit, but I'm a little more lukewarm on Detroit than everyone.
Mhm.
Chad, you got 2 minutes. Detroit.
So Detroit, their young defense is getting better. I mean, they got a lot of good talent on that side. I I think the coach is a big aspect of that as well. Just the mentality of the defense and like everything that's going for him. Um, Offense, Goff didn't do horrible last
He
year.
was actually really
I
good
think
last year.
he's never going to be as good. Yeah, he's not going to be as good as he was like the Super Bowl year he had, But then there's a lot of running for that as well. But he threw the rock pretty well that year
It's
too.
also a better football team.
Um, yeah, I like St. Brown for the wide receiver one over there. I think he's decent, and he's really slept on, especially people. People who don't watch fantasy football they don't know who he is, but he's a really good wide receiver for those guys. And they added a couple more pieces. I don't know. I see if Goff could have another really good year. I think their defense does. I do think the defensive lines is probably taking another step this year, and
So where do you think they'd finish? You got 30 seconds.
I see the line finishing second,
Second?
but they're
Okay. Okay. Tom, what you got? 2 minutes.
Detroit Lions.
be pushing for that
Defensive.
first one too. But I think the Bears are going to be bottom, but this could be interesting.
Up front, I still don't like the pass rush up front. Um, Defensively, what they built, as far as going out and getting cornerbacks, I like that. Um, Up front, I love the offensive line. I think Goff is steady. He's not a dude that's going to win you games. The Gibbs pick is a little bit weird, and it's also a little bit weird that they keep going out and putting out there that he's going to be this, like he's like a Tyreek
Oh,
Hill
I'm going
or
to pause your
this.
timer because I don't want you to lose time. By the way, remember the conversation we had the other day where Adam was getting fired up saying we were making up shit that he was saying?
Mhm.
About Jahmyr Gibbs and how he talks shit about all these small running backs, but then he loves Jahmyr Gibbs, who's fucking 5'11", under 200 pounds. Guess who said he never said he loved Jahmyr Gibbs over Bijan Robinson and then just traded for Jahmyr Gibbs in our league?
Yes.
Adam. But anyways, I digress. Your timer's going now.
So okay. Jahmyr Gibbs is a good player, but don't plague me to the fact that he's this he's this Tyreek Hill. I'm sorry. Stop it. Jared Goff is average. He's a good quarterback. He's not exceptional. This team built around him is very good. You still have Williams that's going to be out for 6 weeks, which is the playmaking dude that you kind of need. This is a good team. But I've always said Dan Campbell's the weakness. That's it. I can't say any more to it. Dan Campbell is the weakness.
I would assume you haven't finished second.
Hard stop.
I would assume you have them finishing second.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that was perfect because your timer just finished. I will say this. I actually really like Detroit's roster, but I am lukewarm on Detroit for the simple fact that they have one of the best offensive lines in the league. I love their offensive weapons. I actually like Sam Laporta to come in and actually surprise the fuck out of people and be really good at tight end for them.
Mm-hmm.
I love Brown. I love St. Brown. I love Jameson Williams when he comes back. I'll tell you what. I don't know who's the person that makes most of the decisions in terms of drafting, but they're building a really good fucking team, right? But the area that they have sucked at the past 2 seasons as they've built that offense up is the defensive side of the football. And I've said you don't have to be great at defense in this league, but you can't play none. Like, if you play no defense at all, you have to be so perfect on offense to win football games consistently. It's not even funny. And they haven't been. I mean, they were better on defense last year.
And with PFF average, they just came up to average at the end of the year.
Right,
just to average.
So here's my thing.
You got to pull that into account.
So the reason why I'm lukewarm on this team, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be competitive. But I don't think they're these world beaters that everyone thinks. Goff's going to be good again. And he's good. He threw like 30 touchdowns last year or whatever. He's going to be good. The running back situation, I'm sure Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be fine. They also got David Montgomery. Offensive line's lead across the board.
No, Montgomery is gone. Oh,
no, he signed there.
No, he went from Chicago and went to there. Okay.
But the thing that I'm lukewarm on is the fact that I don't think this defense is going to be, even with the additions, as good as it was last year. It's not going to be much better because defense, as you build them, it takes a little bit of time, a little continuity. A lot of these kids that are going to play for this team are first-year players, and a lot of their good defenders last year were either first- or second-year players, like Aiden Hutchinson, some of these other guys. They added Brian Branch, who's really going to come in and be an impact player for them. Emmanuel Mosley, they drafted DBs. Branch could play safety, nickel corner. Emmanuel Mosley could play corner. They added an X factor for me. He's added C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's a fucking psycho, but he's a good football player. Kirby Joseph, underrated safety for them. But I think they're still going to struggle on defense. They don't have enough continuity with all those young players. And then up front, I do like the upside of their pass rush, but it's not where it needs to be. And then in terms of stopping the run, team's really bad. They brought in one of my favorite draft picks in Jack Campbell. But Jack Campbell's only one linebacker on a front seven that's not that good. He's going to make a lot of tackles, but he ain't got no fucking hogs up there up front for him making it so he can be efficient and shit. So I think his season's going to be really competitive. I think they're going to be good and shit. But they're finishing in second place. They're still not better than the Vikings, which leads us to the Minnesota Vikings. You can go first. You're on the chop, Tom.
Okay. So I think offensively they're going to be very good. They have a decent offensive line. As far as tackles, right and left tackle, I mean Darrisaw, O'Brien, we're solid. Interior offensive line, whatever. We're going with a running back by committee. Guess what? We cut loose McBride, which is a fucking crazy fucking thing. I think that whether we I don't know necessarily if we win this division or lose this division. It's going to be based on the defense, but um, like Flores, he runs a cornerback man coverage type of defense. This defense is very young, cornerback wise, and very raw. So if we're running a man coverage kind of defense with those cornerbacks that we have that are young, that's a little bit scary. I think offensively, with adding Addison and having Jefferson and Hawkinson, we could take this division.
30
It's
seconds.
easy. Defensively, I'm scared. This shit, even under
He
Zimmer,
goes, this shit.
even under Zimmer, it's fucking scary. That's all I have for this team. Yo, if this team is gonna win this division, it's offensively. It's not defensively. That's all I gotta say.
Okay,
I like Brian Flores. That's it.
So I actually like I feel like I'm more optimistic on Minnesota than you, and I know it's your team.
Yeah.
I definitely think they're going to win the division. I mean, when you're as good as they are offensively in a team that doesn't have good offenses in it. Well, Detroit's offense was good last year, but not as good as Minnesota Vikings upside, right? And what they are and what they could possibly be game to game. I love your offensive line. If Madison could stay healthy, that would be huge, right? Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne. Love that wide receiver trio. And Addison's going to be a huge part of that because if Addison can be a legit number 2, it's going to open shit up so much harder for Justin Jefferson to just keep doing his fucking thing. And if they can say what they want, I love Kirk Cousins. But I have your depth chart up here, and I'm actually more optimistic about the defense this year than people think. So up front, you got Dean Lowry, Tonga, Phillips, Daniil Hunter if he stays healthy, Jordan Hicks. Here's one of the X factors:
Davenport.
Brian Asamoah. Yeah, you have Davenport as well. Brian Asamoah the second.
On a 1-year deal.
Brian Asamoah. Brian Asamoah was one of my favorite rookies last year. Now he's gonna play all season. Davenport, and then
1-year deal.
I like Cameron Bynum. I like Byron Murphy Jr., which was your biggest pickup. Harrison Smith is still one of the better safeties in the league.
Ivan Pace, who's been running with the first team offense, which was an undrafted rookie out of Cincinnati. Motherfucker is an undersized linebacker. Yo, gets after the fucking football.
Yeah, Ivan Pace, and I like Andrew Booth Jr. I think this defense might have if they stay healthy, I think this defense could be better than people think next year.
But this is what the scary part. Booth Jr. is very injury prone. He's been injured throughout the training camp. I'm not, even when we got into the games, he's gotten injured in games. I'm not high on this dude, only because of injury. Well,
that's what I'm saying. It's the only thing that'll hold it back from taking a leap is injuries.
And this is a very weak cornerback room, which
I like the additions to it though.
Which Brian Flores goes man coverage in his own system, goes man coverage with cornerback. Very scary.
Gotcha. But we both got the Vikings winning the division. So I don't see him being 13-4.
Right.
Maybe more like 11-6.
Or 10-7.
Or 10-7, but you still win it.
You can still win this division at 10-7. The only problem I have is that defensively, cornerback wise, this is going to be a struggle.
Gotcha.
It's been a struggle for this team.
Well, I think Byron Murphy Jr. gives it a good bump. I like him. I think he's underrated. But
I agree with you, but I just think that when you go on over the longevity of a 17-game season,
Right.
I'm sorry, injuries, aggressiveness, how you call
Lewis
defense,
Seen.
right? I Yo, Harrison Smith, the old guy,
Lewis
he's
Ever.
supposed to
That's
be
one of
the
Darren's
Rock.
guys. Lewis
Oh
Seen.
God,
All right.
yo,
So we both.
this shit is tough. With Minnesota is tough, but I still have them winning the
Yeah,
division.
they definitely take the division. So we're gonna move on to the AFC West. We're starting to get there. We're starting to get through them all.
Okay,
So I'll go quick on the Arizona Cardinals because we don't have to talk about them all that much.
right.
It's the worst roster in the league. Kyler Murray's not gonna play, most likely, and apparently, like I guess, like what is it? If he
COD,
like,
COD on the board.
I guess like
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
I know that's crazy, right? So that's what we'll talk about. There's no reason to talk about this team in depth because they're not good.
The roster
It's
is
the worst
fun.
roster. Not only is it the worst roster in the league, it's by a large margin the worst roster in the league. Like the Texans roster is way better than this roster. But I will say this. This is what we'll touch on real quick, and we'll try to move past them because I don't have much to say about the Rams either because they're in a shit situation. But
Yeah, there's my
Kyler Murray, I just want your opinion. Do you think they sit him all year? I guess what is it? You might know this. I can't. I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head. It's either like, oh, I guess it's if he doesn't get his physical done and pass his physical or some shit, he's owed like 90 something million dollars or some bullshit. I don't remember
I
what.
would.
There's something
Yo,
going on with his contract where they have to do something or
I
else
would.
they're on the hook for a lot of money with him.
I'm pretty sure there's some team in the league that values him
Oh, for
over
sure. He's a good player.
Arizona.
He's a baller,
What I
really.
would do, what I would do is because you're not going to play him throughout the year, bench him all year.
I'm trying to find what
You're
this
going to
is.
put a second tier quarterback running the fucking franchise. You're going to be first in the draft or second in the draft.
Oh, dude, hold on. I gotta update you on something.
Caleb Williams
Dude,
is there.
yo, you gotta see this.
Yo,
There's hold on. There's
reset this
news.
franchise.
There's
Reset this
news.
franchise.
Cardinals named Kyler Murray a captain. He's our franchise quarterback, coach says.
Garbage.
He's our franchise.
Garbage.
He's our franchise quarterback. It said.
Garbage.
Everything
It's garbage.
everything
It's
I want
garbage.
our captain to be, he
No,
demonstrates it.
It's garbage.
Do you think they're
You
lying?
would put your best player as a captain. You want
I mean,
him
he's
to
the
feel
best
that.
player.
Right. That don't mean he's playing. And
Oh,
the fact
yeah.
is, no, listen. If you or me are running this franchise, do we want Kyler Murray or do we want Caleb Williams?
I
What is
would try to get out of Kyler Murray's contract the best way I could, and I would tank for Caleb Williams.
and reset this franchise, right?
Yeah.
Because it's already at the bottom. Listen. They could do whatever they want. They could sell Kyler Murray. This shit is done.
It sucks because it's weird.
I'm not saying
He's actually a really good player, but
right,
there's two things
but
working against him. He went to an all-time bad franchise, and then he also, on top of that, apparently wasn't putting in all the extra work, all the
and
skills, all the athleticism, all the tools. But like,
let's be
how can you ever
let's be honest.
elevate a team if you're not doing what's needed at that position? You know what I'm saying?
Let's be honest. Kingsbury is not an NFL quarterback
Right.
or NFL
No,
coach.
for sure.
He's terrible. He's terrible.
For sure. But
I like, and that was his due. The way that he wanted to run it with, like, he had Mahomes in his camp. He thought that this was going to be the dude. The problem is that Kingsbury is a college/high school coach. He's not an
I
NFL
just love how you're not
type.
showing your face and it's just like your beer can.
You know what?
Uh,
I'm going to switch this shit because I because we're getting to the nitty gritty. Oh,
Hey,
hey,
what up?
hi Zach. So I'm gonna put on my hat.
But yeah, we
My
can
Minnesota
listen.
Vikings.
Let's be real here. We can not even.
No,
We can not even talk about the
because we're on the
Cardinals.
no, we're on the timer. But really, the Cardinals, we should really get off this franchise.
So we.
Kingsbury's not there. Kyler Murray is not the answer. This franchise has the lowest amount of high level franchise players. Um, they need a reset. They really need, and this is the worst thing. Caleb Williams really should not go to this franchise because they're only going to do him a disservice.
Oh yeah, dude. He better hope that they stick with Kyler Murray.
Right. But the problem is that Kyler Murray is not going to be available till late in the season.
I thought it was in like 4 weeks.
But you know how they're going to hold him out. He won't be there till like week 8. And
But yeah, still,
but
I mean, but here's the thing: they could
remember,
trade back. Like if they say they really wanted to keep Murray and they got the number 1 overall pick, the smartest move is most likely to move back and acquire a fuck ton of draft capital. So a team
but
could probably hop up.
you take you take a lowly franchise that needs a quarterback and just say, okay, we're willing to trade you a 3rd or 4th round pick. You can take our quarterback, and Arizona knows that they're going to get the number 1 pick.
Do you think they
You do that
take him over Kyler Murray?
correct.
Do you think Kyler
That's a
Murray? Do you
no-brainer.
think Kyler Murray gets Kyler Murray the way? Who was the dude that got drafted before Kyler Murray, and then they took Kyler Murray right after?
Oh,
Rosen.
what's this? Yeah,
Rosen. Do you think Kyler
Rosen.
Murray gets Kyler Murray'd?
Yes.
Ooh, that would be rich.
Only because when this is a Colin Cowherd fucking hot take. When you want a franchise quarterback, which is the most important thing on your franchise, you would move off of anybody. Guaranteed.
All right, so the Rams. I don't have much to say about the Rams. I'll let you talk more about the Rams. The Rams have right now one of the worst rosters. If Stafford comes back and plays the best of his ability, I put in my power rankings that I could see them maybe being like middle of the pack in their division, maybe winning like 7, 8, 9 wins at the peak. But I think they're going to be bad. Like they're just not. They don't have enough depth. Stafford's all dinged up. The Rams they're probably going to be maybe 7 game, 5 to 7 wins most likely. What do you think about the Rams?
Quarterback wise, I don't have a problem with Cooper Kupp coming back. Defensively, they're kind of weak.
They got Aaron Donald, so
front.
that's all that matters. Aaron Donald's going to take back the Super Bowl.
I
All he needs is D
I
tackle.
think I think that's they're
Chatty's back.
they kept the most amount of rookies on their franchise going into the season. I think they're bereft of talent. Outside of Arizona, there's a second team with the least amount of
I
talent.
think so too. I think Houston has more talent than both these teams.
I don't like.
I love how we're
I'm
shitting on
sorry,
Houston.
they're
Like
just
fucking Houston's up there now.
no, but Houston has talent.
Yeah,
Defensively, Houston is good.
I think they're going to be good
Offensively,
this year. Yeah.
they need their quarterback to come through. But Arizona, fucking the Rams. Rams went all in. They got the Super Bowl. This team is bereft of talent. I'm
Super
sorry.
Bowl or
No,
bust.
no fucking talent on this team. They got on both sides of the ball. They have low fucking athletes that can win. I'm sorry. Defensively, offensively,
Absolutely, they're bad.
they're bad.
Okay, well,
Arizona.
Hey,
and the
Kyler Murray's
Rams-
coming back soon.
can you hear us, Chad?
So we already
Yeah, I
talked
said
about
Kyler Murray's coming back soon.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
So
But where's the talent around Kyler Murray when he
yeah,
does come back?
listen,
There's nothing there.
listen. The Rams and the Cardinals are bad, so we don't need to talk about them anymore. We could start. Chad, are you good to drop a take?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So I'm gonna start you a timer because we're almost towards the end. Seattle Seahawks is a team we're talking about, so we're gonna talk about them. You got 2 minutes. Seattle Seahawks.
Dino's gonna bring him to the Super Bowl. No, it's good. No,
Oh god.
Yes!
I was joking. No,
Oh!
If Dino has another good year over there, if Dino has another good year over there, I think the Seahawks are gonna.
Good at
I
what?
think I think they can push a little for that division, but not really. I think
Oh
49ers.
god. You just see Chad puts
I
his
think.
Seahawks jerseys on. He's in the game.
Well,
Playing
no,
for
I
Seahawks.
out of all those teams, I say push because I think they're still gonna be second place.
Yeah.
I mean, would you put them? Would you put them below
No, I
like
mean the Rams
Rams
and
or
the Cardinals are
Cardinals?
the two worst teams in the league right now for sure. 100%.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can't say push.
Right.
They're gonna make the. I think they're gonna make the playoffs this
They're
year.
going to be
Yeah,
fighting the 49ers for the division.
yeah, but I don't know. As long as they still got their two best wide receivers on the roster, surprisingly. Once they lose that tandem, I think they're gonna definitely drop towards like the Rams level. But I think they have enough talent on the squad to. And it's gonna be interesting. No, because then the rookie running back last year, he has another year underneath his belt now, so he's going to be able to
If he can stay healthy,
hopefully play a little
Kenneth
bit better.
Walker.
Yeah, if he stay healthy
He
this year,
was
yeah.
solid last year when he was upright. He was good.
Oh. But
Uh,
I see them. I'll give a record thing. I'll give the Seahawks like a nice cool 10 wins.
gotcha. Tom, what do you think?
This is my hot take out of all the divisions. I think the Seahawks take this fucking division. I think Geno Smith
Oh,
is
he
gonna play
drops
well.
it.
Yo, Jackson Smith and Jigba,
I got a
and
buddy
they
at
get
work.
him.
If he heard
Yo,
this, he'd be freaking out because
yo,
he's a 49ers
yo,
fan.
yo, they got talent on the outside. They got a run game. The offensive line is good. I'm sorry, but the coach is a defensive coach. This defense is a good fucking defense. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's not the 49ers defense. But you're telling me that you're going with a third tier quarterback in the 49ers and and even with Shanahan's offense and players that they're going to be better than what Geno Smith was delivering last year. Listen, if Geno Smith delivers even at 3/4 of what he delivered last year, this team is taking this division. This team is set up to be good. They drafted well. Offensive line is good. They don't have the bullshit in Russell Wilson. They like Geno Smith. They added pieces on the offense to make Geno Smith better. Yo, you add Jackson Smith and Jigba to this fucking wide receiver core?
And
Sorry. I'm
Jigba?
I'm sorry. Seahawks take this
That's your
fucking
dark
division.
horse team this year?
Yo, no. It's not. Yo, it's not dark horse. It's what I believe. This team is taking this division. The 49ers think they got a wash over with this fucking. Yo, this division used to be a monster, but it's not.
Okay, well,
You can always run with defense, but all you need is weapons on the outside. And we've always talked about this. Weapons on the outside, can you cover? 49ers up front can cover, on the outside cannot. I think
So,
Geno Smith.
Don, are they going Super Bowl? Beating the Eagles and
No.
he's got him winning the
Seahawks
division.
are no. Seahawks are not going Super Bowl, but they take the division.
Wow.
Only because I like Geno Smith in the boat and the availability of him throwing the ball, and they added a supreme weapon, and Jackson Smith and Jigma.
I do
I'm
agree
sorry.
in that.
I'm sorry.
That the Jackson Smith of the Injigbas is the real deal.
Yo, they went out and
Hey,
they grabbed
Sam,
the
hug it.
steal of the
Chug it.
yo, the steal,
Football.
the steal of the draft,
Uh,
and everyone was like, yo, this dude's gonna be elite, but it depended on what team he went to. He went to a team that has Lockett. He went to a team that had a supreme monster on the outside that could be considered a tight end slash wide receiver. And then you add a Jigma? Come on,
and
please. And
Jigba
Geno Smith,
playoffs?
playoffs? We talking about playoffs? Yo,
What takes
this
5 minutes?
team offensively with a this yo, they were
Uncle,
bagging on this offensive
Chrissy,
line with Russell
Chrissy,
Wilson. This is a good
five minutes and we go
this
bed,
is a
okay?
decent to slash good offensive line. And they showed it
5 minutes.
behind Geno Smith.
Well,
I never had I never had I never had high hopes on Geno Smith's arm because I've always thought it was like college esque arm, which is kind of floaty. This dude's come around and thrown some good fucking football. They're taking this division.
so
Yo, 49ers can run on defense and do this gadget shit, but guess what? You ain't putting up the points like like the Seahawks. Sorry.
so
They
I would love to have
I will
Anton in
say,
our
yo,
in our fantasy.
my hot take, Seahawks taking this division.
all right,
Seahawks.
he needs to start playing fantasy.
Bro,
It'd be fun to have him. Anyways,
Anton would be like Gino all day.
Seattle.
I'm taking him for 60
So
bucks.
for
Gino.
so
I
for
love
me,
Gino.
I still have Seattle second. I think their front seven's not good. I know they got Bobby Wagner back, but he's getting old and he's
I never, yeah.
one
He's long
guy.
in the tooth.
I
He's garbage.
love their corners. I love all their DBs: Quadri Diggs, Adams, their corner depth, Woolen, all those guys. Offensive line was solid last year. Charles Cross played well, but still, needs to be better, more consistent up front. Love the weapons. It's basically come down to, could Geno Smith play as well as he played last year, or could he play better? If he could play better than he played last year, and if the defense can actually fucking help them out,
Yo,
maybe.
if he plays better, that's MVP. That's MVP level.
He was
If he
great,
plays
dude.
better.
He actually was
Stop
like the
it.
fourth best graded quarterback last year.
Yo, MVP level. I'm saying consistency.
MVP.
Come on, let's go, Gino.
So,
baby.
but I still haven't finished second. 49ers. So, Chad, you could talk about the 49ers. You got 2 minutes.
I see kind of what Tom's saying, but I can't see the 49ers losing this division. I think with McCaffrey and like all the weapons they have on the offense, it's such a high powered. I think Brock Purdy's going to come back this year, and definitely. I mean, if he was healthy last year in the playoffs, I think he could have beat the Eagles. I mean, if they weren't on their fourth string quarterback, it might have been a different game, but who knows? So, I think if he's fully healthy this year and stays fully healthy, I see him having the chance because he came in on a hot seat the year before for like the playoffs, and then he came out this year and he played pretty well. He played pretty well this year for him with everything going on. So I think he's proof that he's able to play in these games, big games. I think regular season is not going to be that big of a challenge for him compared to like how he played last year in the playoffs. So I don't know. I see them going good. They should probably get towards 11, 12 wins. Their defense is good too. I mean, nothing really. I don't think there's any really big ads from the defensive side. I can't think of any.
Yeah, so I don't have much to say about the 49ers, so I'll go next. Arguably one of the best rosters in the NFL, one of the best schemes in the NFL, some of the best coaching staff. I really don't think this team has a weakness outside of what are you going to get from Brock Purdy. Not the biggest sample size, only played a year. It's really going to come down to if he's healthy and if he can stay playing well within that system. And that's all I really got. I think they should be the favorites to win the division. You can go, Tom. What's up, babe?
I think Brock Purdy is okay. let's be honest.
How'd you work out today?
Shanahan really wanted Kirk Cousins in this offense.
Like from the workout?
So Brock Purdy's a step down, and this is his second year with a shoulder injury. He's got weapons, and he knows how to scheme it up. But even if
The gym is
Brock Purdy was good during the
go lay
Eagles,
down. If you need anything,
it's
I'll get it
still
for
an
you.
iffy game. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, they fucked me up the
I
other day.
don't like
Yeah,
if
just
Lance was your
relax.
dude,
Just breathe.
and now you got Sam Darnold in the mix with Brock Purdy. You're not telling me much about Purdy. Just from an outside view.
You got a minute.
I like the gusto of 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 I like the gusto of the Seattle Seahawks and what they're doing.
Gusto.
This seems like we're gonna put an average dude and then we're gonna put playmakers around him and we're gonna make this shit work.
Which is winner's formula.
Right.
And the 49ers have been doing this for a decade and a half, 2 decades now, and not
Which
winning a
has
Super
it
Bowl.
which, like you said, has not given them results.
They did it with Colin Kaepernick. They did it with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Now they're doing it with Brock Purdy. And
But
they
Jimmy
whiffed on Trey
Garoppolo
Lance.
right, but Jimmy Garoppolo was very poor in the playoffs. And this is the same kind of setup. This dude is not accepting. Um, I'm not saying Geno Smith will leapfrog this team, but what I'm saying is that when you're going to build
You'll probably hear it
young
again.
talent, young talent around people with Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, that's a defensive dude and lets his dudes play, and he gets the most out of him because he's so like an upstart kind of coach. He's like, "Yo, I back my dudes up." There's no Salah there anymore. He's with the Jets. I don't know. I'm just taking a tack where I think the Seahawks are going to be more upstart than the 49ers. I just don't think Purdy has the gusto, but they probably, instead of taking all of those draft capital and using it on Lance, maybe put it towards like Kirk Cousins or
Or
maybe a high level quarterback.
you could have fucking traded probably for Aaron Rodgers, but I'm pretty sure the 49ers gave up a lot of their draft capital to get Lance, and that's the thing that sucks.
Right. But I think this might be what fucking curtails them.
Tell you
That's
what,
just me.
I've said this too. Your
Just
team
me.
is going to let Kirk Cousins go after the season.
Yes.
Kirk Cousins is going to walk right over to the 49ers and take a 2 or 3 year deal with them to end his career, and he's going to have a shot at winning a Super Bowl.
But when they get to the playoffs, it's failure to launch.
Swaggy!
That
What if
dude.
it's not, though, when he gets there, though?
Well, we're only speculating.
Listen, I'd be rooting for Kirk Cousins if he ever got to Super Bowl with any team. I love that dude. He'd be fucking back there like,
Right. But he's always shaky
yeah.
with good defenses
You
in
know
his
what
face.
it is, real quick? Did you watch that thing, quarterbacks or whatever with him?
Nope.
So
Nope.
I watched it, and I definitely think that he's a guy that has like the psychological issue of he he cares so much, he wants it so bad, and he wants to win and not fuck up that he's like, in big moments he kind of like is like just too frazzled, because he just wants to not let everyone down, and you can see it when he talks and how hard he
But
works.
when
Like
you
he
look at
just
the
gets up there and he's like,
when you look at the process outside of him on the field, the process, he's high level,
insane.
insane high level. It's actually being on the field that where the shit gets janky.
Got to get a sports
It's not
psychologist,
the
man.
process, right? But they took this dude and put him in front of rookies that were coming into the league, and the rookies turned around and said, "I've never learned so much by not talking to Kirk Cousins. He showed us, Kirk Cousins can process everything in front of him when he gets behind the center. He can process everything. It's actually the game of play that fucks him up.
Right. Yeah. So
And he's still high level. This is the problem. He's still high level in what he does. It's just the high level moments become bigger than what he is. That's it. That is it.
I don't know.
Kirk
Some
Cousins,
guys
Kirk
struggle in the
Cousins,
big moments.
right? Kirk Cousins, if you go on the longevity of their career, Kirk Cousins is front of the line when it comes to producing yards, producing points, producing anything. This is the only thing I've ever had against Kirk Cousins. When he was at Michigan State, I always wondered, why was he never a captain in all his 4 years at Michigan State?
Maybe they know something.
Right. And it wasn't processed because he was a starting quarterback for at least 2-3 years there. But they didn't think that he was high level enough to be a captain on that team. Kirk Cousins is a fantastic player. He's not a motivator.
Right. Well,
And on the NFL level, I guess you just kind of get that same player. Duke could sling the football, do amazing things, be average to high level quarterback, just won't be the go getter that you need.
gotcha.
And that's on ability. That's on his personal makeup. That's just me.
Well, we're down. We're down to the final division, and it's so particularly become that we're at this division because
Yikes.
it's the division that gets talked about more than fucking anything fathomable in our fucking group chat. We're at the NFC East, and to
Evan,
me, so I sent Dennis and Keegan and Winner links. Told them we'd be talking about the NFC. No one wanted to step up to the plate and have the tough conversations. Now, Adam would have gotten in here if he had free time. Fucking Saquon. Don't you find it?
Okay,
Don't
okay.
you hold on? Don't you find it
So-
interesting that Adam is the commissioner of a fantasy league, got the first pick of that fantasy league, and then took Saquon? That's like the worst pick of all time. So that means you think that Saquon Barkley's gonna score the most fantasy points this season, which he's not gonna. Like, you could have taken Justin Jefferson or Austin Eckler or someone that scores in the top tier every single year. And you take a dude that had a year last year that, like, 7 other running backs had
So
in terms of fantasy production.
I'll say this out loud, and to you, we'll know what this is. But did I answer the question about focus? With Kirk Cousins.
What's that?
Did I answer the part about focus with Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins he just got focus.
Right. I don't want to leave that hanging out. We'll leave it at that. I know what you said to me, but I just want to say I'm in agreement. There's a lack of focus. But let's move on.
The Washington Commanders. You still there, Chad?
Yeah, I'm here. I'll go after you guys.
Okay, so Ton, you could go with the Washington Commanders. This is actually one of my dark horse sleeper teams to be better than people think.
Okay. I'm
so
still going I'm
go
still
with
going to put them at the bottom of the division. You're going with in a sense, a rookie. He
Sam
had
Howell,
flashes.
baby.
No, Sam Howell has had flashes, but I don't think this is the fix. They don't even
You
like
say that.
they don't even like the moniker Commanders. This team doesn't even like who they are. And then all of a sudden, like they don't even like the players that they have on this team. They don't like
They just
anything
hate
built
everyone. They
around them.
hate everybody.
They hate McLaren, everyone. They hate everyone on this team. This team has always been the same team that they've always been. If it's not championships, they hate themselves. New ownership, same surroundings. His team loathes themselves. I even have family that likes this team. They hate themselves. This team is bottom of the division. Sam Howell is average at best.
You don't know
He's
that.
no, I do know this. I've seen him on the college level.
Yeah, he was
He
really
is
good.
average. No, he's average.
All right.
We have to be honest to this. You guys don't see that. This dude is average on the NFL level. I'm sorry to say this, but I have to be the guy that puts the fucking stamp on this. He's average.
Fucking savage.
Rivera is walking himself into out of a job on this team, out of a head coaching job.
I think no matter what, they'll find a new coach. I think they'll find a new
No,
coach even more
but
so if
also,
Howell hits.
but this team defensively is not cohesive. Offensively, they have talent on the offensive side, but now you have to me, an average to low level quarterback that needs more time on the field, and it's not going to be enough to save this team. I'm sorry. It's just not good enough.
So you got him finishing last.
Last,
All right. So
unequivocally, last.
so I personally think that the Commanders, if they stay healthy on both sides of the football, they were 8-8 last year with terrible quarterback play the whole entire season. I said the year Sam Howell come out that I thought he was the best quarterback in that draft class. And I don't remember who got drafted with him. It was probably someone better. Did he come out with like Trevor Lawrence or something? Like, I mean, if he came out with a blue chipper that's playing well, obviously, maybe I could take a peek and just see. And we actually have more time than I thought, so we could take our time with this division. Okay, yeah. This was the draft class that was fucking booty cheeks in terms of quarterbacks. The first pick was fucking Trevon Walker. Let me see. Yeah. So this draft class was the draft class. I thought Sam Howell was the best quarterback of the draft class. I thought he was kind of better than Kenny Pickett. I thought he was better than all these dudes. Has a high-level arm talent, in my opinion. Velocity for days, anticipatory thrower, good throwing motion, stands in the pocket, not scared to stand around and make his reads. And one thing people don't know about Sam Howell, because not a lot of people watch UNC football, Sam Howell was like top 5 in broken tackles last year, or the last year he played. He was one of the best rushers in all of college football in terms of breaking tackles and efficiency and yards per carry and stuff like that. Dude's a legitimate threat to run the football in this league. Now, obviously, the dudes are bigger, faster, stronger on average than this league. Obviously, it's the pros. It's an amalgamation of all the best college players doing their top level profession. But that being said, my comp to him was I thought he was kind of like a poor man's Russ. But I do think that he does a little bit, his throwing style is a little bit different. I think he attacks the whole field more than Russ. I actually think Sam Howell's a really good player. Every time they've given him an opportunity to play, whether it was in the regular season, whether it's against starters in the preseason, he's been lighting everyone up. I think he's really good. I think they're going to have him on a rookie deal. They need to get a few more pieces of offensive line. If it's not, they're not going to be super world beaters this year. But if everyone, let's say everyone stays healthy, I love this defense. Really love this defense. I think it's going to be even better this year with the additions to it. John Dotson's going to have a breakout year. Terry McLaurin's dirty. Their tight ends can catch the ball. They got dual threat at running back. Let's go, dude. Give me some Washington Commanders that possibly be in third in the division this year. I'm in on Sam Howell, man. I'm putting my fucking foot down. I make you know me. I make really good analysis on the players. I actually truly find the game tape and watch these guys. And how many dudes have I told people about and they ended up being really good? I've been wrong at times, but I'm, especially at the quarterback position, I'm so thoroughly believe in my ability to analyze the way I analyze and stick to what I'm seeing and trust what I'm seeing. I predicted Patrick Mahomes. Name another dude you know who predicted Patrick Mahomes before he even played. I really like Sam Howell. Could he suck? Absolutely. But he's not shown any indication at all so far in the snaps that he's played in any type of NFL platform that he sucks. Show the exact opposite. But it is still the Commanders. Their offensive line's bad. I'm not a fan of the coach. I'm not a fan of the organization. But, dude, you don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he could get, like, you don't think he could play better than fucking Taylor Heineke and all these dog water dudes that have been playing for them? They went 8-8 with bad quarterbacks last year. And then he came in at the end of the season and was like throwing fucking cover into deep coverage, throwing touchdowns to Terry McLaurin. I don't know. I like them. I think that if the Giants aren't careful, the Giants can find themselves in the bottom of the division. Chad, what do you think about the Commanders?
I think they're going to do good this year.
And they got dirty jerseys. I love their fucking jerseys.
Reading good. Yeah, I think Sam Howell is going to do good for them. Their run game's going to be just as good, and their defense, it's pretty stout on the defensive line. I think the only thing they lack really is corner-based stuff, but I mean, most of their division is running at this point.
I think they're good at corner. You look at their deep chart.
I'll give them. I think they're going to finish third or second.
I think they can finish third. I don't think they finish second. Third for sure. What do you think, Tom? Did you go on this team? You already went on this team, didn't you? I don't know where Tom went. Yeah, I like this team. Their defense, Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, Jamin Davis, Cody Barton, Kendall Fuller, Cameron Curl, Derek Forrest, Emmanuel Forbes. Dude, this team's stacked. Benjamin St. Juice, defensively, they're really good. They got to stay healthy. And even they got some good backup players, Kaliki Hudson, David Mayo, Percy Butler, Jartavis Martin. Offensively is where it gets rough, like their offensive line. Charles Leno Jr., Sadiq Charles, Nick Gates, Sam Cosmi, Andrew Wiley. But I love everything else. All right. Well, what do you think about the Giants? Chad? All right, I guess I'll go. The Giants. Do a little stuff right here.
And I'm just getting the kids to bed.
You're good.
So
I'm going to
really
keep talking. The Giants. Trying to find my notes. Okay, so for me, I think the Giants are going to be relatively as good as they were last year, which was, you know, didn't have the best strength of schedule last year. They played a lot of teams that weren't that great. They had a couple good wins, like they beat the Ravens, they beat the Titans, but I mean those are solid wins. They got into the playoffs in a weak NFC, and won a division game against, or won a playoff game against the Vikings in the wild card. The strength of this team is their front seven. They added depth to the linebacker core. Their defensive linemen are awesome. I think they're not that great at corner, and they were in the back half. Pretty sure like EPA per pay last year on defense. Their defense was not that good. They had some crucial, really good play calls offensively, and were stout at times defensively that helped them win some games. But as a whole, their defense wasn't really good once they got into the postseason. I mean, they let up a lot of points to the Vikings, then they got rolled by the Eagles. Yeah, they were 20th in EPA per drop back last year. And they were back half in EPA per play on defense. This team's not that great at wide receiver. They added an injury-prone Darren Waller. They're going to be able to run the ball with Saquon Barkley with an improved offensive line. Will Evan Neal take the next step at right tackle? I don't know. They got Smits in the middle playing center, so this offensive line's probably improved a little bit. They got an elite left tackle. So yeah, I mean, I feel like the Giants are going to be similar to they were, unless Daniel Jones makes a huge leap. But like they went out, they paid for Darren Waller, they drafted a wide receiver. Do the Giants make a really big push to dethrone two really good teams in their league this year? I don't think so. I could see them making the playoffs again because the NFC's not that great, but the NFC, in my opinion, has gotten a little bit better comparative to last year. But they'll be battling for a wild card spot with the Commanders. That's going to be the marquee matchup, the end of the year, them versus the Commanders, trying to see who gets that third place spot. So yeah, same for the Giants for me. Lot's going to be on Daniel Jones' shoulders. Can Barkley stay healthy? They could be one of the middle of the pack, like solid teams again this year. I don't think the improvements are like anything that catapults them. You know, it's not like they went out and got like a number one wide receiver. Darren Waller's been injured half his career. So there's that. Dallas Cowboys. So I think the Cowboys are going to be similar to they were last year. So a lot of people don't know that the Cowboys had one of the best offenses and one of the best defenses last year. And on top of that, that was with Dak Prescott not playing well. They got a defensive tackle in Mozzie Smith is really going to help them bolster their front seven. Their front seven's gnarly across the board, really, especially with adding Mozzie Smith. They got two high-level corners. They got solid depth on the back end and safety. Micah Parsons. I really think this team's going to be really, really good defensively, as barring they all stay healthy. They also got depth at corner too, and then their offensive line. It's older, and yeah, they've had their injuries and stuff, but it's still one of the best offensive lines in the league. The question mark for this team is, can Pollard stay healthy and handle a full share of the load? Offensively. And what type of depth can Deuce Vaughn be a guy that spells Tony Pollard? And basically, this team could potentially be still one of the best offenses in the league if Dak doesn't throw the interceptions he threw last year. That team was one of the top 10 offenses and defensive league, and Dak threw a lot of interceptions last year, which, contrary to popular belief, he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions throughout his career. He still has only thrown 66 interceptions. That's not a lot. Up until this point, that's about what like all the great dudes are throwing. Not saying Dak's great. Fucking pump your brakes. Be a grown-up. But yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to be right back in the mix. They could win anywhere between, they can go 10-7 all the way up to 12-5 again. For sure. They're going to be really good, but it's just the same old song and dance as of late. Like, win a playoff game, but can you get to the NFC Championship at least? I'd like to see them at least get to the NFC Championship. There's just no excuse with a team this good. And this team is really good. And last but not least, we got the Eagles. So the Eagles arguably had the best roster in the league. dual threats at wide receiver and Smith and Brown. They have the best offensive line in the league, in my opinion. They had like 5 or 6 guys that rushed for over 4 yards per carry last year. Not paying running backs. Smart. Let Miles Sanders go. Can Jalen Hurts have a similar year to last year? You could make the argument he could have. You could possibly make the argument he was one of the best players on the field in the Super Bowl in a loss. But parts of that team did not show up in the Super Bowl. They rolled in there with a better roster and lost to a better quarterback and a better coach. I mean, that's really all that was. You know, they even got out-schemed on the ground. Isaiah Pacheco's 6th-round pick just running all over them. But the Eagles are really good at corner. I think their linebacker's a little bit sus. I think that's where you could take advantage of that team is at the linebacker position. They lost TJ Edwards to the Bears. Their defensive line, fucking stacked. Defensive ends, edge rushers, defensive interior. They just got half of the Georgia's fucking roster the past 2 years. Offensively, best offensive line in the league. Running back by committee. Love the wide receivers. Love Dallas Goedert. So Jalen Hurts last year, I'm pretty sure, he threw 22 touchdowns, which, you know, at the end of the day, they run the ball so well and have thrown the ball so efficiently, and that's the key word, that they truly are one of the teams that are efficient in all aspects of offense, whether it's throwing it deep, throwing it in the middle of the field, throwing it short, running it to the edge, running it up the middle, zone blocking, all that stuff. This team just needs to be better defensively. And, like, yeah, you look at them on paper. If you look at their roster, it's like you can't believe that, like, you're like, oh, that's that team. But at times the defense hasn't shown up for this team. Didn't show up in the playoffs against the Chiefs. You literally had to stop 3 dudes for the Chiefs. They couldn't get it done. Their starting lineup, Brandon Graham. This is another thing with the Eagles. Their players are getting long in the tooth. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, they're well into their 30s, but they have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. That's just mammoth. It's crazy to me that they've replaced some of these guys. Josh Sweat. But, dude, coming off the bench, they got Derek Barnett, Katavius Street. Their linebackers, Zach Cunningham and Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean's going to get the start for the Eagles. Not the best linebacker taking on blocks. He's very small for the linebacker position, but he's an animal. Plays hard, can tackle, can cover. Got Hassan Riddick coming off the edge. They drafted Nolan Smith. This is one of the most impressive teams I've probably ever seen, not only in terms of starting lineup, but overall depth, too. I mean, they got kids that are potential star players that are sitting on their bench. Keely Ringo, Nolan Smith, Sidney Brown. They drafted Eli Ricks. You know, like, they just got so many players. Carter coming in, and the only reason why Carter fell to them is because he was, like, killed people in a fucking car crash shit. Their defensive backs, Darius Slay, Terrell Edmonds, Reed Blankenship, James Bradbury, Avonte Maddox. Like, this is Jake Elliott's their kicker. This is just a really, really good football team. You know, and in all actuality, in terms of talent on paper, they should be the favorites to go back to the Super Bowl and win it. But you can still get beat by a really good coach and a really good quarterback no matter what the rosters are. Chiefs were middle of the pack defensively. Really bad on the back end last year. Started like 7 rookies. They, like, you know, their best wide receiver is Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, I don't know. It's just football's just fucking interesting, man. So yeah, that's what we have for the NFC. A couple of the guys had to drop out. Chad's trying to put the kids to bed. Tom got busy over at his place, so, you know, just round out the analysis and just finish it. But I guess that if I had to pick my final 4 teams for the Super Bowl, like for each AFC and NFC championship, I have to do it because they're knocking on the door every single year now. It's probably the Bengals and the Chiefs. Let's be real here. Unless the Chiefs roster takes too many injuries, because it's not the greatest roster. If they're a couple injuries away from really struggling in terms of talent on the football team. I mean, their offensive line's still elite. They got the quarterback, they got the coach, they got Travis Kelce, but, you know, if their defensive, I always forget if Jones doesn't play, their defensive tackle, they're going to be hurting even more on defense. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens with the Chiefs. Coming out of the NFC, I would probably say I obviously like the Eagles. I do like the Cowboys to have a bounce. They won 12 games last year, but I expect Dak to have a bounce back year. So the teams that are most likely to come out of the East are either going to be the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the 49ers in some way, shape, or form, just like last year. I know they say, oh, well, so many teams, a certain percentage of the teams that made the playoffs one year don't make it again. That's usually true every single year, but that doesn't mean that any of the new teams are going to be good enough to go on a playoff run. I don't think any of them are. I don't think the Seahawks are. The Vikings are not going to make a playoff run. The Lions, they don't have enough juice. The Jets are a team that could make a playoff run. The Dolphins are a team that could make a playoff run. Chargers could. Ravens could. And the Jags could. The Jags won a playoff game last year. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we got. We've already done the NFC. This is the AFC. This is the NFC predictions. Tell us what you think in the comment section. Like and subscribe. I'll be putting out my overall power rankings out either today or tomorrow. It's already done. I just got to talk over it and do all that stuff, and then I'll just post it for you guys. Please give me feedback on these podcast episodes and all of our opinions on here. I'd really appreciate it if you guys hit like, left comments, give us some feedback, and let us know what you think. Also, I will be live now playing Starfield. I got Starfield. I played it. I really like it a lot. I've barely sunk my teeth into it. I've already had some experiences that I've really loved in it. And so I'm interested to see, how that goes. So when I can, I'm going to try to really put the throttle down and try to put some streams. I streamed for like 3 hours, 4 hours earlier. Yeah, and I'm having a blast. So, Power Rankings will be out. Starfield streams will be out. Like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. We'll holler at you later.